What's up, guys? This is 𝗙𝗥𝗘𝗦, and you have reached the Roughnecks Ecom channel. If you want to learn how to make money online or offline, then you need to be right here. I'm a 7-figure Amazon seller. I'm also an honorably discharged Air Force veteran. Graduated from Penn State and started a career as a software engineer and leveraged that to build my businesses. If you guys have any questions on how to make money, you're going to find all your answers right here, so stay tuned.
So I get all these messages from you guys, well, not necessarily you in particular, but from a lot of people on social media asking why they're not making any money with their automation service, or oh, you know, could you tell me about this other guy's automation service? Like, I love what you do. I love all the information you put out. I know you have a service, but tell me all about that shit. We're gonna start dispelling all that today because this is just, it's annoying, and I hate having to answer the same questions all the time. I am not customer service for these other automation services, all right? I am not customer service. If you spend your money with those guys, that you should be asking them why you're not making any money. You should not be asking me. But we're gonna talk about it so everyone else knows why you potentially are not making any money. Okay, so it's kind of a twofold thing. One, it's either that automation service sucks, which is more than likely what it is. Like, they just fucking suck, and it is what it is. You wasted your money. You're probably not gonna get it back. I don't know what to tell you. Like, you're boned. Okay, and two, a myriad of other reasons. And we're gonna kind of break those down because they vary. And my clients know all about it. They know why, 1 month might be lower than the next, or 1 month might be higher than the next, or just all types of things, like why, things trend a certain type of way or whatever. And when you're selling on Amazon, it's a real business, guys. And business is not always going to be the same every single month. When we say averages, we're talking about averages. It's not, hey, this is what you're going to do all the time. Like, you might have a month where your margins are 3 or 4%. You might have a month where your margins are 30%, and you have to be okay with that. And if you're not okay with that, you shouldn't get involved with automation. You probably shouldn't start a business. All right, take your ass to work. Okay, take your ass to work. And the same thing, don't invest in anything. If you're afraid of any form of risk, don't put your money in the stock market. Even though the stock market's pretty fucking stable, don't do it. All right, just don't do it, because you're gonna have a very bad time, and you're gonna whine and all that. And making money is for risk takers. It's not for people that whine all the time. Okay, when you're not making money with something, it is very frustrating, and I completely understand that. I understand it better than the next person. Right now, like, how much money did I spend on that barbershop, guys? If you watched my video, I might put a card up here somewhere if I can remember to, but I spent $150,000 on this barbershop. Had to hire a manager. I have to pay for the expenses. I have to pay for the building. I have to pay for the utilities. I have to, make sure that, the manager's paid. I have to do all this stuff. So by the time all is said and done, if I don't make at least $7 or $8 grand every month, it's almost 8 actually, but I don't even break even. So I'm already in a hole because of COVID and cold weather out in Philly, like 200 grand. All right, already in a hole for that. All right, already in a hole. I know that over time, I'm gonna be making bank when the shop is up and booming, especially when the warm weather comes back. Oh, there's an airplane. Okay, I know that things are gonna be freaking amazing, all right? And I was willing to risk that, especially during the pandemic. That's like a dumb thing for anyone to really do who does not have the money to do so. You never want to just dive into like a physical business during the pandemic. But I did, because I knew that over time, the business would pay me back and then some. It would be a way for me to build some form of passive income for the long haul. All right, if you guys don't have that mentality, you're not going to do well. And you not making money with Amazon automation, or not making the money that you want to make or that you feel you should make, is going to be a very, very tough concept for you to understand most months. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's talk about some of the reasons why you're not making money with automation, and how we can kind of solve that. Not necessarily solve it, but how you can look at it in a better light, so that way you're more calm and you're more collected. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's talk about it and get away from this Bitcoin, because this Bitcoin it's big, it's booming right now, but it's about to have a pullback. So if you see this video and it's already started pulling back, just know I called it. All right, let's go. So one of the main reasons that you wouldn't be making money with your Amazon automation service is because of the products, right? So you need listings in your store, and a lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people feel that, like, oh, I have 100 products in my store, I need to be making tons of money. When it comes to some forms of drop shipping, you need tons and tons of products in order to make a profit. Because number one, when you're a new seller, all right, you aren't going to get the buy box as readily. That's something that you guys don't understand. Okay, everyone feels like as soon as you start listing products, you're going to start making a ton of money, and that's not often the case. You need to get the buy box for said products. And in case you didn't know what the buy box is, it's that little button when you shop on Amazon. It says buy it now. If you are not the seller that owns that buy box, you're not going to get credit for that sale. As a new seller, it's very difficult for you to have the buy box for all of your items. Okay, it's going to take time for Amazon to build up that trust with you, and for them to understand your seller your seller algorithm. If you guys can fulfill your orders, if you can handle customer service. All right, Amazon's not going to give you more than you can handle more often than not. Okay, and you need to be mindful of that. If you got freaking 20 products in your store and you're expecting to do millions of dollars, it's just not going to happen. Okay, now more often than that's not going to happen. Now it's possible, but your margins are probably going to be very slim, if not non-existent altogether. So keep that in mind as well. You have to give it time for the process to work. You have to give it a few months in order for your store to start growing. All right. Do not freak out if you're seeing margins of 3, 4, 5, 6%. Okay, don't freak out about it, because over time your margins will go up. As you get the buy box more readily for those items, you're going to be just fine. Okay, you're going to be just fine. Whether you go with me or another service or whatever, if they don't suck, this is probably what's happening. All right, it takes a little bit of time. Okay, and that's going to lead us into the next thing. Over time, you guys are going to be averaging a set amount of profit. You're not always going to do the same amount of profit every single month, because that's not how business works. Okay, you're going to be gaining the buy box, you're going to be losing the buy box, and on top of that, you're going to have customers that are angry with you, so your metrics are going to be affected. No, your metrics are never always going to be perfect. Okay, and I know a lot of people want their metrics to be perfect, but that's not going to happen. You will have out of stock with your suppliers. Sometimes you'll have customers that complain, you have customers that want returns. There's all types of things that will affect your metrics. Okay, and sometimes that is going to tend to get Amazon to drop your buy box percentage, which in turn means your money is going to drop. So let's say you had the buy box and you were doing mad money one month, and then the next month your margins kind of took a dump, and you just weren't making any money after that. It's just part of the game. That's what happens. You're not always going to be doing tons of money. In some cases, it might take a year or more for Amazon to trust your account and give you the buy box more readily. Okay, and you have to be okay with that. And a lot of people, I feel, aren't okay with that, and it's just because it's the way Amazon automation is marketed. Unfortunately, you have a bunch of yahoos saying you're going to make 100K in 30 days, and that's just simply not true. So you have these grand expectations of making that type of money, and it's just not going to happen. And well, I can't say it's not going to happen, but it's not going to happen as fast as you think, and you're going to have a lot of problems along the way, because that's just what it is with a business. And we're going to talk about some of those problems and continue trying to figure out why you guys are not making any money. Okay, so let's go. So back to the whole item thing. Now, if you're with a good automation service, they're going to make sure that every store has separate items. And what that means is that not every store is going to grow at the same rate, and not every store is going to make the same amount of money. And that's what happens with my stores. My clients understand that. You need to understand it as well. If you decide to get involved with any form of automation, your store is not going to do the same as maybe your friend's store. Like, you and your best friend can sign up at the same time. That person might make $10,000 a month net profit. You might make $2,000. And that's just something that you have to deal with, because each store is going to be unique, and Amazon is going to prioritize them in different ways. Some of them will get the buy box sooner than others. Some of them will get the buy box less often than others. It's just the nature of the beast, and there is really nothing that you can do about it. Okay, you're kind of at the mercy of Amazon. Overall, you will make money, but it's not going to be something that is going to happen overnight for everybody. Some people get really blessed, and then boom, their stores blow up almost overnight, and those are the ones that people talk about. Oh, this person did 50K, they're like in 30 days, man, it was freaking awesome. Yeah, it doesn't happen for everybody, because it just doesn't. All right, that's just the way the Amazon algorithm works. All right, but your store may not have the right type of products for what you're trying to do. Okay, and let me explain. There might be a lot of high profit items that you are pretty much the sole seller for, you have the buy box for, but they don't really sell that often. And therefore, you're not making a ton of money just based off of those. It sucks, but that's just the nature of the beast. If you want to be profitable, sometimes you're going to have a lot of items that just don't move very often. So to make up for that, you're going to have a lot of high volume ones that will, but you might not always get the buy box for them, especially with a new account, because stronger sellers are going to be on those high sales ranking items that do a lot of volume. Okay, so it's just it's something that you just have to deal with for the time being until you get the buy box more readily, and then can compete with those sellers that have higher sales history than you, reviews, things of that nature. Okay. Also, when you guys are looking at this account versus this account, you have to understand the dynamics of that. Okay, it's just like a car. Okay, not every car is going to be spec'd the same way. So every generation, 911, 991, like Right now we're on the 992 generation. So it would be 991.1, and then when they do the facelift, it would be 991.2. There are only 2 911s made that are identical to one another. Okay, only 2. That's something that happens with automation, at least with a good automation service. No 2 stores are going to be similar. Even, let's say the products are the same, the stores themselves are not going to get near the same traction because, like I said before, one seller may get the buy box more readily than the other seller. Nothing is going to be the same. Each store is going to be unique. Just as the same as your fingerprints are unique, your store is going to be unique. And you have to be okay with that. You have to understand that. You have to be willing to accept that. You also have to be willing to accept the fact that the majority of the money that people are talking about are for stores that have been around for years and years and years. Okay? The average store is pumping out $2 to $4K net profit every single month based on the capital that you have. All right, that's just what it is. And let's talk about capital, which would be another reason why you're not necessarily making the money that you want to make. All right, so let's go ahead, let's break that down. All right, guys, so let's talk about the whole capital thing. If you're not making money, capital could be one of the reasons. So the general rule of thumb is for the money that you have, you can do roughly 1.5 to 2 times that amount in revenue. Okay, usually you're going to do 8 to 12% on average in net profit of the revenue that you produce each month. So let's say you only have $5,000. Okay, $5,000 really isn't a lot of money to drop ship with. And you probably shouldn't be getting involved in automation if you only have $5,000 in capital, whether it's on a credit card or cash or whatever. But let's just say someone was gracious enough to let it happen and essentially screw you over, because that's what they're doing. They're just trying to take your money and they're putting you in a situation where you're going to get dicked over. But let's go ahead. So $5,000, all right? You can generally do maybe $7,500 to $10,000 in revenue. You're going to make roughly $800 to $1,200 off that on average. You might make less than that, especially if you have to go on vacation because you don't have the money. So if you're putting your store on vacation in order to get your every other week payout, like there's a whole lot of stuff that can happen with that. And that's just, it's enough money to pay some bills, but it's not a ton of money. And the way it's marketed, everyone is saying you're going to make a ton of money. Well, everyone besides me, that is. But, they're all going to say, oh, you're going to make a ton of money and this and that. And if you only have $5,000, you're just not going to make a lot of money. You're just not. It's going to be very, very difficult for you to do so. And I hate to break it to you, but these douchebags are going to take your money and then, put you in a situation where you're going to be unhappy because you're just not going to make the money. For the people that do have it, you still have to understand it's a law of averages. Okay, it is all about that average. You're not going to come into the game making $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month in net profit. That is, stores doing that are generally 2-3 years old. All right, on average, they're that old. Some cases they're a little younger. More often than not, they're much older, and it's just a game of time at that point. You need really strong listings. You have to be able to get the buy box more readily. I can't stress this stuff enough. And guaranteed I'm going to get some people who skip through this video and they'll be like, so what about the buy box? I'm going to have to tell them to go and watch the whole thing all over again. All right, so you guys just need to understand those are some of the reasons that you're not making money. There's a whole lot more that could pop up, but those are generally going to be the ones. Like, let's say you're from out of country and you don't have a U.S. credit card or debit card, or you don't have U.S. funds or access to a U.S. address. A lot of the suppliers that I use and that other people will use are U.S. based. And if you have like a, Colombian address or English address or whatever, you're not going to be able to use those suppliers. So some of those suppliers have listings that produce a lot of revenue each month. Well, unfortunately, if you can't use them, things are just going to be very sluggish for you. Okay, some of the listings that you push out, you're going to make good money on, but unfortunately, you're just not going to be able to do it in volume. So you have to understand that if you do get involved, you need to have some form of capital over here in the U.S. All right, that's just what you have to do. All right, if you do not have the ability to use a U.S. based address, you're not going to be able to pull this off. And I hate to break it to you, but just it is what it is. Okay, there's just no way around it. So with that being said, hopefully this has been enlightening for you guys. Hopefully you have a little bit more information so you can go make an informed decision concerning automation, whether you get involved or don't get involved. At least you'll be armed with the knowledge to know that if you do, you'll be able to make money, or you have realistic expectations of making money. Now check the links below, man, in the description. You can hit me up on social. I'm always around if you got questions, whatever. So that being said, man, be safe, be smart. I'll catch you guys in the next one. I'm hungry. I gotta get out of here. Peace.